Imagine you could walk into a room full of strangers and, an hour later, walk out having memorized every single one of their names. Picture yourself preparing for an exam, not by cramming for hours until your eyes burn, but by engaging in a focused, almost playful activity that locks information into your brain with surprising strength. You would feel calmer, more confident, and undeniably smarter. Most people think memory is a genetic lottery ticket. The truth? Exceptional memory is a skill built on simple, learnable techniques. So why does memory feel so difficult? Why do names slip away moments after we hear them? Why do facts from a textbook seem to evaporate overnight? The reasons we forget are surprisingly simple. The first major culprit is a failure to pay attention. Our focus is constantly fragmented. Divided attention means the information never gets a clean, strong signal into the brain. True memory begins with true focus. The second core reason, failing to move information from short-term to long-term. If this sounds familiar, hit the like button. You are definitely not alone. Let me make this real for you with a quick story. I'd meet someone, have a great chat, then 10 minutes later, blank. I assumed I was just bad with names. Then I read about creating bizarre, vivid mental images. I was introduced to a woman named Kimberly. I pictured glittering diamonds, Kimberly mines, sitting on her shoulder. I did this for everyone I met. An hour later, I remembered a dozen names. It was fun, not taxing. The difference between being a passenger in my own mind and grabbing the steering wheel. Memory is a three-part process: encoding, storage, retrieval. Encoding is getting the information through the door, attention, or it doesn't enter. Storage or consolidation is forging stable connections. Most people fail here. Create vivid images, link new to old, organize into a story. This is the work of consolidation. Retrieval is finding the right book at the right shelf. Self-testing makes memories stronger. Spaced repetition optimizes retrieval over time for maximum retention. When you forget, diagnose which pillar broke. This simple framework turns frustration into problem solving. Exceptional memory isn't talent, it's technique. There's no solid evidence for adult photographic memory. Champions are trained practitioners. They did the cognitive equivalent of lifting weights. Many started with average memories. Technique plus practice built skill. It's not hardware, it's software, and you can install it. Subscribe if you want simple, science-backed methods to upgrade your brain. Turn on notifications for more brain hacks that actually work. Like this video if you want a sharper mind. Save it before your next study session. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Alright, let's get to the good stuff. We've talked about the why, now let's dive into the how. These aren't just clever party tricks. They are powerful, evidence-based tools that can fundamentally transform an untrained, leaky memory into a skilled, reliable one. Think of your memory not as a fixed trait, but as a muscle. And right now, we're heading into the gym. We'll start with the granddaddy of all memory techniques, a method so powerful it was used by ancient Greek and Roman orators to deliver epic speeches without a single note. It's called the memory palace, or the method of Loci. This technique works by hijacking your brain's incredible spatial navigation system. You are already an expert at remembering places you know well. Your home, your route to work, your favorite park. The memory palace leverages this innate skill. The first step is to choose a familiar route. Don't overthink it. Your own apartment or house is perfect. Now, mentally walk through it in a specific order. Front door, hallway table, living room couch, kitchen counter, bedroom window. Got it? Now, let's say you need to remember a simple grocery list. Instead of just repeating the words, you're going to place vivid, bizarre, and unforgettable images of each item in specific locations along your route. For milk, don't just picture a carton. Imagine a waterfall of milk exploding in your entryway, splashing all over the floor. At the next stop, the couch. Picture giant slices of bread bouncing up and down on the cushions like they're on a trampoline. And in the kitchen, instead of just bananas, imagine a troop of bananas in top hats, swinging from the ceiling fan like circus performers. The weirder, the more animated, the better. To recall your list, you simply walk the route in your mind. What's at the front door? The milk explosion. What's on the couch? The bouncing bread. The swinging bananas? They're by the fan. The locations act as the hooks, and the bizarre images are the fish. You're not trying to remember a list from thin air. You're simply taking a stroll through your own mind. Next up, chunking. This is your brain's ultimate decluttering tool. Our short-term memory is notoriously limited. It can only hold about 7 pieces of information at once, plus or minus 2. That's it. Chunking is the art of hacking that limit. It works by reducing the cognitive load. You don't remember a phone number as 10 individual digits. You remember it as 3 groups: an area code, a 3-digit prefix, and a 4-digit line number. 212-555-1234. That's not 10 items, it's 3. You can apply this principle everywhere. A long credit card number becomes 4 groups of 4. A complex password becomes a memorable phrase. A dense paragraph in a textbook can be broken down into its 3 core ideas. By grouping information into meaningful clusters, you're not just memorizing, you're creating structure and understanding, making the information far easier to encode and retrieve. Our third technique is a supercharger for the memory palace. Make your images weird and multi-sensory. Our brains are wired to pay attention to novelty and sensory details. A plain image is forgettable. A bizarre, sensory-rich image is magnetic. Let's say you meet someone new named Bill at a conference. Just picturing his face and name is weak. Instead, picture a 10-foot-tall dollar bill walking up to you and handing you his business card. But don't just see it. Engage your other senses. What does that giant bill feel like? Imagine the rough, fibrous texture of the paper. What does it smell like? The distinct, sharp scent of fresh ink and money. Can you hear the crinkle of the paper as he moves? This is called dual coding, linking a verbal concept, the name Bill, with a non-verbal image, the dollar bill. By making it multi-sensory, you create more neural pathways to the same piece of information. It's like building multiple roads to the same destination. If one is blocked, you have others to rely on. Now for a technique that guarantees long-term retention: spaced review, also known as spaced repetition. This is your defense against the natural process of forgetting. When you first learn something, the memory is fragile. The German psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered this over a century ago, plotting it on his famous forgetting curve. Without reinforcement, you lose most of it within days. Spaced review works by strategically interrupting the forgetting process. You review the information at increasing intervals. A classic schedule might be review after 10 minutes, then 1 day, then 3 days, then 1 week, and so on. Each time you successfully recall the information, you're telling your brain, hey, this is important, don't throw it away. This process forces the memory to move from fragile short-term storage into robust, long-term storage. The best part? You don't have to manage this manually. Apps like Anki or Quizlet can automate the entire process for you, creating digital flashcards that appear exactly when you're on the verge of forgetting them. It's the single most efficient way to learn and retain large volumes of information. Technique number 5 isn't about how you review, but how you learn in the first place. Focus blocks. In our hyper-distracted world, multitasking has been sold as a superpower. It's not. It's a myth. When you multitask, you're not actually doing 2 things at once. You're rapidly switching your attention between them. This switching comes at a high cognitive cost, leading to more errors and weaker memory encoding. The antidote is deep, focused work. The Pomodoro technique is a perfect framework for this. You work in focused 25-minute sprints. During that sprint, you are a monk. Turn off your phone, or at least put it in another room. Close all irrelevant tabs. Silence notifications. Your only job is to focus on the single task at hand. After 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break. This isn't about working longer, it's about improving the quality of your attention. A single, focused 25-minute block is more effective than an hour of distracted, fragmented effort. Quality of attention always trumps quantity of time when it comes to forming strong memories. Finally, the most passive but perhaps most powerful memory hack of all: sleep. You can use all the fancy techniques in the world, but if you neglect sleep, you're sabotaging your own efforts. Sleep is not a passive shutdown. It's an active, critical phase of memory formation. During deep sleep, your brain consolidates memories, transferring them from the hippocampus, your short-term inbox, to the cortex for long-term storage. It replays the neural activity from your day, strengthening the connections you formed while learning. Furthermore, a recently discovered glymphatic system acts like a cleanup crew, washing away metabolic waste products that accumulate in the brain while you're awake. Skimping on sleep is like having a librarian who diligently checks in new books all day, but never actually shelves them. The information is in the building, but it's disorganized, inaccessible, and eventually gets thrown out. A full night of restorative sleep is non-negotiable for a high-functioning memory. It's the foundation upon which all other techniques are built. We've covered some powerful theories, but as any great coach will tell you, the real game is won on the practice field. Theory gives you the playbook, but practice builds the muscle memory, forges the neural pathways, and turns abstract knowledge into an instinctive skill. So, let's move from knowing to doing. Welcome to your first week of memory training. Think of this as a 7-day boot camp designed to kickstart your journey. The goal isn't to become a world memory champion in a week. It's to build a solid, sustainable foundation of habits and techniques that will serve you for a lifetime. Consistency is your secret weapon here. A little focused effort each day will compound into remarkable results. Are you ready to build your foundation? Here's your plan. Day 1 is all about laying the first stone of your memory palace. Your mission is to choose a familiar location, your living room, your walk to work, your favorite coffee shop, and select 5 distinct locations or loci within it. Your front door, the coffee table, the big armchair, the window, the bookshelf. Now choose your first set of information. It could be the first 5 US presidents, 5 essential vocabulary words for a new language, or the 5 key takeaways from a recent meeting. The key is to create a bizarre, vivid, multisensory image, linking each item to its location. Don't just see George Washington at your front door. See him frantically polishing the doorknob with his powdered wig. Don't just place the Spanish word gato on your coffee table. Imagine a giant cat tap dancing on it, scattering your magazines. Make it loud, make it weird, make it move. Once you've encoded your 5 items, walk away. Do something else entirely. Then, after 1 hour, mentally walk through your palace and recall each item. This initial test is crucial. It tells your brain, hey, this information is important. On day 2, we build on our success. Your first task is to revisit yesterday's work. Take a mental stroll through your palace. Can you still see, hear, and feel those 5 images? Recall them all, in order. This is your first taste of spaced repetition. Now, it's time to expand. Add 5 more items. You can either extend your journey into a new room, moving from the living room into the kitchen, for example, or you can start a brand new palace for a different category of information. Maybe your apartment is for history, and your office is for project management steps. The choice is yours. Encode these 5 new items with the same vibrant, exaggerated imagery as before. Once they're set, test yourself on all 10 items. Notice how the first 5 feel more stable. That's the power of review. Day 3 is about consolidation. Before you learn anything new, your only job is to test yourself on the 10 items you've already stored. Walk through your palace and retrieve them all. As you do, pay close attention. Are any of the images getting a little fuzzy? Is the tap dancing cat looking a bit tired? This is perfectly normal. It's called memory decay. Your task today is to fight it. When you find a fading image, don't just passively recall it, actively refresh it. Make it even more bizarre, more emotional, more ridiculous. If the image of Washington polishing the doorknob is fading, imagine he's now singing a sea shanty at the top of his lungs while doing it. Add another sensory layer. This active refreshing process strengthens the neural connection, making the memory more durable for the long term. Today, we shift gears from a specific memory technique to the foundational skill that makes them all work. Focus. In our age of constant distraction, the ability to concentrate deeply is a superpower. Your task is to practice focused work using the Pomodoro technique. Set a timer for 25 minutes. For that block of time, you will work on a single, challenging task. No phone notifications, no email pop-ups, no just checking one thing on another tab. It's just you and the task. When the timer rings, you've earned a 5-minute break. Get up, stretch, grab some water, then reset the timer for another 25-minute session. Aim for 2 or 3 of these focus blocks today. This isn't just about productivity, it's cognitive training. You are teaching your brain to resist the siren call of distraction and stay engaged, which is absolutely essential for encoding complex information into your memory palaces. Our brains don't like long, random strings of data. They love patterns, stories, and structure. Day 5 is about mastering the art of chunking. Your task is to take a longer list of information and break it down into smaller logical groups. This could be a grocery list of 20 items chunked into produce, dairy, and pantry staples. It could be the 12 key events of a historical period chunked into early, middle, and late phases. Or it could be a complex set of instructions chunked into preparation, execution, and cleanup. By grouping items, you're not just memorizing individual facts, you're understanding the relationships between them. You're creating a mental file cabinet instead of just throwing papers on the floor. Once you have your chunks, you can then use your memory palace to store the chunks themselves, making it even more efficient. One of the most powerful ways to solidify your own learning is to teach it to someone else. This is known as the protégé effect. When you explain a concept to another person, your brain is forced to organize the information, simplify it, and find clear analogies. It exposes the gaps in your own understanding and cements the details in your mind. So, your mission for day 6 is simple. Find a friend, family member, or colleague, and teach them one of the memory tips you've learned this week. Explain how a memory palace works. Show them how to create a vivid image. Walk them through the idea of chunking. You don't have to be an expert, just share what you've discovered. In teaching, you will learn twice. You've worked hard all week. You've built, expanded, refreshed, focused, chunked, and taught. Now comes the most passive, yet one of the most critical parts of the process: rest. On day 7, your main task is to prioritize a full night of quality sleep. During deep sleep, your brain is anything but dormant. It's busy consolidating the memories you've formed, transferring them from the fragile short-term storage of the hippocampus to the more permanent long-term storage in the cortex. It's like a librarian working the night shift, diligently filing away all the books you brought in during the day. Your only active task today is a very brief, low-effort review of your memory palace before you wind down for the evening. Then, let go. Trust your brain to do its work. And that's it. 1 week down. Let's take stock. In just 7 days, you haven't just learned about memory techniques, you've actively practiced them. You've built and navigated a memory palace, harnessed the power of bizarre imagery, implemented spaced review, trained your focus, organized information through chunking, and locked in your knowledge by teaching it. Most importantly, you've respected the biological necessity of sleep for memory consolidation. This isn't the finish line, it's the starting block. You've built a robust foundation, and more importantly, the momentum to keep going. You've proven to yourself that a better memory isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, one day at a time. Expect roadblocks. Here's how to sidestep them. Cramming feels productive but creates weak memories. Short, consistent sessions win. Boring images fade. Make them vivid, funny, shocking, even a little weird. Your brain remembers the bizarre. Multitasking shreds attention. Use a timer, put your phone away, and single task. Neglecting sleep ruins consolidation. Don't pull the bread out half-baked. Protect your 8 hours like any review session. And so we arrive at the end of our journey, but at the very beginning of yours. If there's one thing to take away from everything we've covered, it's this. A powerful memory isn't magic. It's a cultivated skill. It's not a gift bestowed upon a lucky few, but a fundamental human ability waiting to be unlocked. Your mind is not a mysterious black box with a fixed capacity. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, with the right training, the right techniques, and consistent effort, It can grow stronger, faster, and more reliable than you ever thought possible. The journey from forgetting to remembering is paved, not with genetic luck, but with intentional practice. You have the blueprint. You have the tools. Now, it's time to build. Throughout this guide, we've learned how to work your brain, not against it. We've learned to speak its native language, the language of vivid images, compelling stories, and familiar locations. This is the heart of the memory palace technique, turning abstract data into a concrete journey through a space you know like the back of your hand. It's about transforming the mundane into the memorable, the boring into the bizarre. Why? Because our brains are wired for survival, and nothing sticks better than something that's novel, emotional, or downright strange. We also explored the power of focused attention, using techniques like focus blocks to create the deep concentration necessary for encoding new information. And we saw how spaced retrieval, revisiting information at increasing intervals, is the key to forging durable, long-term memories, moving knowledge from a fragile, short-term state into your permanent mental library. But it doesn't stop there. We covered the critical role of sleep in memory consolidation, the unsung hero that works behind the scenes to file away the day's learning. We talked about the testing effect, realizing that quizzing yourself is not just a way to measure what you know, but one of the most potent ways to strengthen it. And we addressed the common pitfalls, the myth of multitasking, the trap of passive rereading, and the burnout that comes from cramming. Each of these principles is a powerful tool on its own, but when you combine them, they create a synergistic effect, a complete system for learning and recall that can fundamentally change your relationship with information. You now understand not just the E, but the behind a world-class memory. The gap between knowing and doing can feel vast, so let's bridge it right now. The goal isn't to perfectly implement every single technique tomorrow. The goal is to start. Start small, start today. Your first mission is simple. Pick one thing. Just one. Is it your shopping list? Instead of writing it down, try placing each item in a simple 5-stop memory palace around your kitchen. See the milk exploding on the stove, the bread bouncing on your favorite chair. Feel the absurdity. That's the feeling of a memory taking root. Or maybe you have a report to read or a chapter to study. Don't just dive in. Set a timer for one 25-minute focus session. No phone, no tabs, just you and the material. When the timer goes off, walk away. You've just laid the first brick. Or the next time you meet someone new, don't just repeat their name. Use a bizarre, unforgettable image. The name you hear is Sarah? Picture her with a giant, sparkling S for a hat. It takes 3 seconds, and it doubles your chance of remembering. This is how it begins, not with a grand, sweeping overhaul, but with a single, small, intentional act. If this journey has sparked something in you, if you're ready to continue upgrading your brain with simple science-backed methods, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're constantly exploring new ways to learn better, think clearer, and live smarter. Liking this video tells the algorithm that this kind of content is valuable, helping it reach others who might be struggling with the same frustrations you were. And I highly recommend you save it to a playlist, maybe one called Brain Boosts or Study Skills, so you can easily come back and refresh your memory on these techniques before your next big project or exam. Don't forget to turn on all notifications by clicking that bell icon. That way, you'll be the first to know when we release our next guide. We're building a community of lifelong learners here, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. Now, for your first official challenge, it's time to put this into practice. In the comments below, I want you to share the most wild, funny, or vivid image you can come up with for the name Alex. Think action, exaggeration, and emotion. Does Alex wrestle an alligator? Is Alex a giant talking lexicon? Is Alex balancing on an axe? Don't hold back. The more ridiculous, the better. The comment with the image that makes our team laugh the hardest will get a special shout out in our next video. This isn't just for fun, it's an exercise in creative association, the very skill you need to make any information stick. And here's part 2 of the challenge, which is even more important. Find at least 2 other comments with an image for Alex. and reply to them with a suggestion on how to make their image even vivid. Add a sound, a smell, a feeling, or an extra layer of absurdity. By helping others strengthen their images, you are actively training your own mind to think more creatively and memorably. You'll find our pinned comment below with these instructions. Let's fill the comments with a gallery of unforgettable images. Your journey to a better memory starts now. Let's get to it.